sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey Zoe, I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
Men tend to sacrifice their happiness for their family, while women tend to sacrifice their family for their happiness.
How about that?
A lot of women think the grass is greener on the other side, only to get out there and see that it's not. Just like Tia
Mowry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. This is why this show is so important, right? Because, and you've heard me say this before, and this is a perfect example of why I say this. I say, because we're human beings, everybody has a story and a perspective on relationships. And I'm not here to besmirch other people's perspective. However, to make these sweeping indictments and generalizations, right? You know, the brother said men will sacrifice their happiness for the family, while at the same time women will sacrifice the family for their happiness. And clearly this statement is purely anecdotal, right? It is not a peer-reviewed, psychological fact. I think some people it might be true for, and most people it might not be true for. Let's just keep in mind what kind of culture we live in. It's a very selfish culture. And I would say when we're looking at the majority of folks, like for instance, if we go back and we take a look at Dr. David R. Hawking's work when he talks about the consciousness grid, right? When he talks about 90% of the population of the planet Earth, not your hood, not where you from, not your block, He's talking about the planet. Where are we? 9 billion people in? He said 90% of the planet is vibrating on a consciousness level of fear. Right? This is why trust and loyalty and, all of these different hang-ups have such a high priority in relationship, because most of our relationships are fear-based. So clearly, maybe this brother's experience led him to believe that all women are like that, or all men are like that. But what about the men who haven't showed up for their kids purposely? Like, that ain't my baby. I'm not even going to participate. Now, that isn't indicative of all men either, right? Especially black men. When you do the research, when you look up the research from the CDC will tell you that black men are probably the best fathers in the game. We spend more time with the kids. We participate in their lives. So this is the kind of stuff. So when people talk about, the gender war, right? And people talk about, black men versus black women. This is part of the fuel that actually keeps it going, right? And I'm not here to say that brother's experience does not perfectly match his perspective, right? But what I am saying is, just because you had a bad perspective or a bad experience doesn't mean that your perspective is the benchmark for everybody. And one thing is true. No matter what you try to do, relationships aren't easy. Okay? They're not easy. And this is going to let me know. And this is going to let you know, right? This show tonight. The sacrifice of happiness. That's the name tonight. That's the topic. The sacrifice of happiness. And we're going to start with his question, true or false. Men will sacrifice happiness for family, whereas women will sacrifice family for happiness. All right? Now, I say all of that to say there are instances where that is true, but there are also instances where that is in reverse. And there have been many instances where mama put everything on her shoulders and left everything else pertaining to her life and what she wanted to do, her goals and ambitions. She let all of that go to the wayside. There are examples of men doing the same thing. I want to do this. I want to be free. I want to get out. I want to go handle mine. But there are examples or instances where brothers have said, I got to put everything that I want to do to the side, on the back burner, and take care of these kids. Right? See, what happens is, and this is psychologically proven. The more you say something, whether it's true or false, people will tend to believe it. They'll start to believe it. So the narrative out there is women are selfish. Now, nobody said women of this generation. Nobody said a small faction of women. Nobody, you understand what I'm saying? It's so many layers to this. And this is why I want you guys to really tap into this, because, again, a real relationship is sacrifice. But let me tell you something about sacrifices. The result that comes from a sacrifice isn't always instantaneous. See, when people put work in, they expect their payoff to come soon. I put the work in. When is it going to pay off? And I'm telling you, that's the wrong mindset to have. Why? Because it makes you spiritually transactional. See, when you love somebody, and I mean really love them, right? Love has empathy. Love has compassion. Love has understanding. Love has patience. You could be in love with somebody who got an issue, who have fear issues, who have trauma issues, who has self-esteem issues, who has all types of issues, right? If you really love them, you will be patient as they work through it. The reason people are not patient is because people don't want the person as they are. They want the person that they envision them to be, which is why I'm always telling y'all, stop dating your idealized image, idea, and concept of the person you're with. If you really love somebody, you're going to work it. You're going to figure it out. And I mean, real love. Now, let's pull the layer back a little bit further. What if they're toxic, Zoe? Hey, if they're toxic and that proves to be dangerous to you and that proves to be detrimental to your mental health and your overall well-being, then by all means, leave. Leave. Right? But I think people leave because they're impatient. I think people leave because they lack the tools, right, to not only see another person as they are, but to see themselves as they are, right? I just think people got the idea of what it means to relate to somebody all wrong. Sometimes you got to sacrifice. Listen, is the level for your kids different than the level for their mother or father? You love your kids unconditionally, but you love their parent conditionally. See, because you'll say, "Oh, this is my kid. I can't throw my kid away," but you can throw your spouse away. You can throw your partner away. You can't tell your kid, "I didn't sign up for this." And even if you do, and they continue to be what they are, typically, most of us continue to love them kids, right? What's the difference between sacrifice and compromise? And which gender in relationship does more of both? 1-800-920-1580. Call me right now. What sacrifices should be made in a relationship? I'm going to tell you right now, if you can't forgive, if you can't sacrifice, chances are you're like Shawnee O'Neal. I don't think I ever really loved Shaq. Listen, John 3:16 is about sacrifice. God sacrificing his only kid. But read the scripture. It starts off with love. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Think about, it's a metaphor that's speaking about love and sacrifice. So many people refuse to be inconvenienced. So many people refuse to be hurt. So many people refuse to be betrayed. Sometimes the greatest love of your life, usually the greatest love of your life, tends to hurt you. And because we have this Disney-like aggrandized, flowery view of love, we can't believe that the person we love the most would hurt us the worst. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. And sometimes you got to go through it. That's why they say, why would you question my love? Because you don't love. This is why I come in here and say, you live in a society that is exceedingly toxic, right? How so, Zoe? Because you've prioritized doing over being. What have you done for me lately? Lately means, yes, you have done things, but not in a while. We live in a society, again, Antela just brought the point up in the chat. We live in a society that doesn't know how to grow together, right? You think it's easy for a seed to push through soil? You think it's easy for a tree's limbs and branches to reach out for the sun? It's not. It's not. How important is sacrifice in relationship? And when y'all call in, I know y'all got opinions and yeah, let's go with Zoe. Let's disagree with Zoe. And that's fine. All opinions are welcomed. But the one thing I want to know, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up in order to have the love of your life? What are you willing to stop doing? because that's a big piece. So many people really feel like they don't have anything to sacrifice. So many people feel like, what do you mean sacrifice a piece of me? That's what unconditional love asks for. And Nzinga just answered with a great answer in the chat. She says ego. Ego is easier said than done. Why? Because ego is identity. The ego is your identity, your sense of self. So many people refuse to sacrifice their sense of self, even if it was born out of a toxic, noxious environment. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it put that way. What is the relationship between compromise and sacrifice? I want y'all to call in and tell me what you're willing to sacrifice. Who sacrifices more in a relationship? What are the differences in a man's sacrifice to a relationship versus a woman's sacrifice in a relationship? Right? How do the teachings of Krishnamurti or Dr. David R. Hawking shed light on the concept of sacrifice in relationship? And how does this relate to the pursuit of happiness? Does sacrifice, let me go even deeper. I'm going to hit y'all hard with this. Does self-sacrifice eventually lead to happiness? Are you willing to sacrifice yourself in order to be happy? Do you think that who you think you are is not responsible for your dissatisfaction in relationship? Are y'all ready? I don't know if you're ready. In what ways does Robert Anton Wilson's reality tunnel theory influence our perceptions of sacrifice and happiness in relationship? When I come forward, the voice of reason is opening up the phone lines. I want to talk to y'all. Sacrifice, the sacrifice of happiness. True or false? Men will sacrifice happiness for family, whereas women will only sacrifice family for happiness. It's going to be interesting when we come forward. More from the VOR.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
KBLA Talk 1580 is now celebrating 3 years of amplifying our voice and uplifting our community. We deeply appreciate your support of this radio station and will always do our level best to earn your support. Here's to many more years of loving and serving our community. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
I know it's gonna happen without you.
Many homeowners and businesses use man-made stone as an alternative to traditional stone for their countertops. Handling these products puts workers' lives at risk. Without proper conditions, workers could die from the terminal lung disease silicosis. Employers must supply respiratory protection and water systems. It's essential to wet stone when cutting it to prevent breathing in dust. Do away with dusty, deadly practices. Visit WorkSafeWithSilica.org. This is a message from Cal OSHA.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GPL.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join
Join us and our climate justice campaign partner, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., as we celebrate the grand unveiling of the South LA Greenway, Saturday, August 3rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Augustus Hawkins Nature Park, 5790 Compton Avenue in the city of Los Angeles. Join us for a green and healthy festival with free food, planting activities, tree adoptions, nature walking tours, Zumba, yoga, sound baths, and more. It's summer, time to get outside. We look forward to seeing you at the dedication of the South LA Greenway, Saturday, August 3rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Augustus Hawkins Nature Park, 5790 Compton Avenue in the city of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr. and KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your money. Mac, I'm gone. A millionaire, I'm a young money millionaire, tougher than Nigerian hair. My criteria compared to your career just isn't fair. I'm a venereal disease, like a menstrual bleed through the pencil and leak on the sheet of the tablet in my mind. Cause I don't write, cause I ain't got time. Cause my seconds, minutes, hours go to the almighty dollar and the almighty power of that chopper. Sister, brother, son, daughter, father, motherfucker, copper. Got the Maserati dancing on the bridge. Pop it, tell the coppers, ha 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 ha. You can't catch them, you can't stop them. I go by them goon rules. If you can't beat them, then you pop them. You can't man them, then you mop them. You can't stand them, then you drop them. You pop them, cause we pop them like Orville Red and Vodka. Motherfucker, I'm ill. Yeah.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is compromise versus sacrifice. I'm not a big fan of compromise, especially in the context of romantic relationships. When I think about compromise, I think two people not getting what they want. While this might not be how it's supposed to work, it's often how it does work in practice. In a lot of relationships, compromise is a way of keeping score about unhappiness. It kind of goes like this. Well, I don't really want to spend next Saturday with your parents, but you really want me to be there. So I'll agree to be unhappy for your sake in this case, and that earns me the right to expect that you'll agree to be unhappy for my sake at some future date, when I want you to do something that you don't. And in this way, the couple moves forward into the future, and both participants increasingly spend their time doing things that happen.
But I gotta jump in here. He just described a relationship. Isn't that relationship? Right? If I love you, I'm willing to be unhappy momentarily. I'm willing to sacrifice some things, if I love you, if I care about you. I might want what I want. I might want what I want from you. I might need to have my needs met by you in the moment, but I may have to evolve and learn how to delay gratification, right? If we're looking at it from a psychological standpoint, you have the ego, you have the id, and the superego, okay? The id is impulsive. It wants everything right now. Sensation, movement, growth, happiness. It wants to feel full after being empty, emaciated. It wants it now. That's the id. Then you have the superego. These are the two structures that are subconscious, right? Then you have the superego. The superego is the ego is the moral base. You can't have it right now. Just because you can't have it right now doesn't mean you won't have it ever, right? So be patient. Sometimes you have to, delay gratification in order to have a greater gratification later on, in order to have greater satisfaction later on, right? That's the superego. And then you have the ego that is the balance in between. That's where the compromise happens in your spirit psychologically, right? Ego which is conscious, tip of the iceberg, id, superego, subconscious, which is beneath under the proverbial psychological waters here, right? So even in your own spirit, compromise is being made via the referee, which is your ego. Now, in relationships, if you have been wounded, the wounds, the unhealed wounds, can throw this delicate balance off. When your wounds merge with your ego, I know y'all don't want to hear this. When your wounds, your unhealed wounds, merge with your sense of self, the referee can cheat the game. The referee can be paid off. The referee becomes Tim Donaghy. I don't like Allen Iverson, so I'm going to call the game terrible for him. That's how it can happen in your spirit when your wound is helping to write your expectations for your partner. And typically when a wound is writing expectations for your partner, did you know wounds can be very draconian in the laws and expectations that they write for significant others? Wounds can be highly inflexible and rigid. 1-800-920-1580. I would like to know. This is how we become the enemy, an impediment, right, to our own happiness. And relationship, unfortunately, is a mirror that is designed to reflect this rigidity back to you. And it's going to be very interesting. I want to hear from folks tonight. And be honest. Who sacrifices more in a relationship, men or women? The women are already chiming in the chat room. I hear you guys. Get to your phone lines. The number to dial is 1-800-920-1580. I've got more questions, right? Because I ask these questions because I'm very interested in understanding the process. What's the difference between sacrifice and compromise? And which gender in relationships does more of both? Sacrifice involves giving up something valuable or important for someone else's benefit. Wow. Often without expecting anything in return. Compromise, on the other hand, means making mutual concessions to reach an agreement. Studies and cultural observations suggest that the frequency and nature of sacrifices and compromise can vary significantly between genders and individuals individuals in relationships. I want to know, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to compromise? When we come forward, the voice of reason is going to get even deeper. Let's go.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Maryland leaders are speaking out against the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Governor Wes Moore, who is black, says he condemns in the strongest possible terms what happened to President Trump. He says this has to be a country that can learn to disagree without turning to political violence. Black Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott also issued a statement on the shooting saying political violence, gun violence, any violence has absolutely no place in American democracy. The Black Information Network's news anchor Doug Davis is reporting live from the NAACP National Convention in Las Vegas.
Hey, thanks, Amber. At the Mandalay Bay for the NAACP annual convention goes on until the 17th. Just spent some time listening to a panel discussion called Empowering Innovation, Black Voices in Technology. And the networking is phenomenal. Reporting live from the NAACP annual convention, it's Doug Davis. Amber?
Thanks, Doug. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for back to school. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are just 50 cents each at Staples. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program. In-store only offer ends 8/24, limit 20. Save big on back to school at Staples.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
follow the lead, follow the lead, follow the lead.
Hi, it's me, Gia Peppers. Tune in to More Than That live on radio this weekend or wherever you get your podcasts. This week, I'm talking to visual artist Reina Noriega about investing in art, the power of the Black creative, and how artists can turn their creativity into capital. This episode of More Than That is brought to you by Buick, combining beauty and technology to deliver luxurious experiences. Buick, exceptional by design.
At the very root of it all, we are storytellers. It's so important for our voices to be heard, not only as Black artists, but as Black curators and as Black collectors and as Black museum and gallery owners.
I love it.
There are now a lot of people of color that are creating events that welcome the community and welcome diversity. But there still are some of these older galleries that have a certain mindset and run a certain way. When we have some stake in making these decisions, we can push for change for more Black women artists. As a culture, that makes us so much stronger.
How do you recommend that people really stand out in this landscape and get their stuff in front of the right investors?
My advice is always to go within first, to figure out who you are, what your purpose is, what your passion is, so that you can speak about those things confidently and passionately, and it will resonate with people. While I was going on my own inner journey, I also started to realize that I needed to do things for me and not for external validation. When I did that, it had a huge impact and people definitely resonated with that.
That's really good.
But I think people have to be really disciplined. They have to be open to learning more skills. They have to be open to putting themselves out there, to networking, making sure people know what it is that you do and what it is that you want to do so that they can recommend you for things. They will hear you, they will champion you, they will celebrate you, and that will make waves.
Helping to broaden your political and moral imagination with our 2024 climate justice campaign. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
So rich, so indulgent, wrapping my skin in softness. It's Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. My new go-to for silky smooth skin in my shower. With Olay Indulgent Moisture, my skin said bye-bye dry, hello glow in just 14 days. Indulge with Olay Body Wash.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007, they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
No homo. I said he's so sweet, I wanna let the rap fire. So I let it ride and say I'm like a lollipop. She say I'm like a lollipop. Shawty say I'm like a lollipop. She say I'm like a lollipop. Shawty want the bottles in the club. Shawty wanna hug. No, I like to touch. And lovely lady lunch. Shawty wanna thug.
I have been a misfit my whole life, in my family, in my religion, in my country. And I have enjoyed it all the way. Because to be a misfit is to be an individual. To fit with the existing established order is to lose your individuality. And that's your whole world. The moment you compromise and lose your individuality, you have lost everything. You have committed suicide. The people who are fit in the world are people who have destroyed themselves. Certainly it needs courage. A tremendously strong sense for freedom.
Listen, that's my boy right there. I love that brother. That's Osho. But he's having a Biden moment, the way he's speaking right now. I want to just give him a break, but I do understand what he's saying. He's saying people who compromise are usually capitulators to society. He's saying never compromise yourself. He's saying I've been a misfit my whole life, and he said I enjoyed every moment of it because I'm an individual, right? He said I'm an individual. I'm the real me at every turn. That's what he's saying. And he's saying people who are constantly, for lack of a better word, bending the knee by compromising in relationships are actually not doing so in a genuine way. They might be doing it to get something. They're trying to fit in. They're trying to be accepted. They're trying to be acknowledged. And that's a heavy angle Osho took. Y'all know I'm going to play all of the gurus. I'm going to play all of the mystics. Y'all know that. But that's a heavy angle to take. We got a lot of callers from all over the country. But I'm going to tell you right now, y'all know what part of the country is really up in here. Andy, can you tell the listening audience? We have 12 million listeners in Los Angeles. Can you tell the listening audience of this national show right now, The Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, who's dominating the phone lines right now?
You know, they say everything is big there.
Texas. Boy, Texas is in the house. And I mean, we got Dallas, we got Houston, and of course, we've got Detroit. So guess what? We're about to get it in. I want to hear your perspective. What are you willing to sacrifice? Is sacrifice necessary? What's the difference between sacrifice and compromise? What are you willing to... Oh, that's heavy. What are you willing to sacrifice? And if you love them enough, would you sacrifice what you're unwilling to give up? Ooh, 1-800-920-1580. Let's get it. Let's get it. Attila, Houston, Texas. What are your thoughts? I need to know. Talk to me.
Uncle Joe.
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What are your thoughts?
Man, this topic almost got my voice ready to break. But I'm gonna keep it for real. Mm-hmm. As a manifestor, I am triggered. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, with human design, we don't bend the knee to nobody, okay? Mm-hmm. But let me just say something that came up for me in regards to relationships. I think some of us are just opportunists of self-esteem, and some of us are opportunists of worthiness.
Whoa. Slow down and say those 2 points again.
I'm hyped.
What
I'm
in
hyped.
the world? What did you
Yeah.
just say? Say it again.
Slowly, I got you. Some of us are opportunists of self-esteem, and others are opportunists of worthiness. Mm-hmm.
My head just blew up.
What is?
What in the world? Please explain the concept. I ain't never heard that before. Please explain that to me.
Yes, because I think that in regards to tribal nature, we understand that some people are operating off of seeking self-esteem. That's that supply and the validation. And that could be narcissism, and it can also be codependence, right? Remember my topic on martyrdom? How would you classify that? Was she a codependent or a narcissist?
How would you label her?
I would say she was extremely codependent in the sense that if I'm sitting at the needs of a great and I am somebody who is fueled by doing, I'm thinking that doing is going to get me the grace in that person's eyes. And it did not work to her benefit. She criticized Mary for merely sitting there. And Jesus looking at her like, well, she doing the right thing. I don't know what you're doing. Did nobody tell you to do that? It's like the auntie at the cookout that be yelling at everybody. I do everything for y'all, and y'all just, right?
Wow, that's heavy.
So that's kind of how I would classify that. When you're talking about worthiness, and this is something that I struggle with, we tend to devalue our own contributions, and then it's mirrored back to us, and we don't like it. That's a problem. You devalued yourself, and then someone mirrored back to you what you did to yourself, and now you don't like it. And the thing is, anything that's repetitive has the potential to be devalued.
Come on, Houston, Texas. Anything that is repetitive has the potential to be devalued.
Yes, and that's due to expectations. People build expectations based on, because I deal with this a lot, based on your ability to be consistent. And it's really not necessarily their fault. They are expecting a certain level of work, output, or whatever from you based on your loyalty and your consistency. But I think in understanding that, there is a balance there. That's the boundaries, right? But if you're somebody who struggles practicing sound boundaries, that's going to be an issue. So again, you're going to have people that will take opportunity with your self-esteem issues and your worthiness issues. And I think for me, the biggest thing is trying to reconcile individualism, ideas, right, gifts with the requirements of the tribe that you live within.
Do you know how much of a bar self-esteem and worthiness opportunist is? I'm a worthiness opportunist. I'm a self-esteem opportunist. So I'm going to perform the way I need to perform. I'm a fake it until I make. Ooh, Lord,
There's, I would caveat and say there's performance going on both sides. So you're performing as a self-esteem, a person who has a wound with self-esteem to get the validation, and your partner is performing to kind of put you at ease. They know that's your problem, so they give you the supply, right? If I'm a person with worthiness wounds, your partner is performing to make sure that you know that you're worthy, but that's at the expense of your energy.
Crazy.
So that's all I had to say, really.
Crazy. Attila, guess what you just did on a Monday?
I brought Houston in the building.
Come on, Houston, Texas is in the building. Where's Los Angeles? When we come forward, the voice of reason. I'm going to Dallas, Texas. I'm going to Detroit, Michigan. We in here. You got to get in here too. Let's do it.
Is it good to you? More voice of reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys. Let's take our auntie to the swap meet. Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8% must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Excuse my charisma, vodka with a spritzer, swagger down pat, call my niche Patricia, young money militia, and I am the commissioner. You don't want Star Weezy cause the F is for finisher. So misunderstood, but what's the world without enigma? Two bitches at the same time, synchronized swimmers. Got the girl twisted cause she open when you twist her. Never met the bitch, but I fuck her like I missed her. Life is the bitch, and death is her sister. Sleep is the cousin, what a family picture. You know Father Time, and we all know Mother Nature. It's all in the family, but I am of no relation. No matter who's buying, I'm a celebration. Black and white diamonds, segregation. Up that bitch, my money up. You just honey nut. Young money running shit, and you just runner ups. I don't feel I done enough, so I'ma keep on doing this. Let's a young tuna fish.
If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness, growth, healing, and change. We do it on all the different platforms out there: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, to try to be able to help people get awareness of what narcissism is. It doesn't really always look the same as your regular vanilla textbook definition of like, this is what it is. It's a lot different on that a lot of times in real life, but it still is very destructive, and we're trying to build awareness to help people get out of those relationships, grow, heal, and change. If you want to talk to me sometime one-on-one to be able to help work through the trauma bond and rewire your mindset, to be able to know like, hey, I know this person is toxic, but I still want to go back to them. I try to work with people to help break them free from that. Be able to get through the rumination phase and get to having healthy boundaries so they don't go back to a narcissistic person and they don't get with a narcissistic person down the road, but they're able to stay toxic free moving through life. If you want to hear some of the wife's perspective, check out our podcast, Trauma, Drama, and Life, with myself and Kayla, my wife. We sit down and we talk 15, 20 minutes to be able to answer your questions, to be able to talk through stuff that's going on in our life, and just to be able to process stuff that you guys might not have heard from different perspectives. So check that out. If you want to be able to be a part of people that actually understand what you're going through, a lot of the social media platforms have different communities. We've actually started to build a community and in the aspect of having an app. It's called the NARC app. narcapp.com, to be able to check it out. Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community. Community of like-minded people to help you heal, grow, and change. To give you encouragement, you can write in, ask advice. You can connect with survivors all across the globe. You can connect with people and help move forward in your healing. You can take courses, you can interact, you can track your no contact, journal your truth, you can log in and you can visit with our weekly lives that we have every single Monday, or our monthly coaching calls that we interact with people, with other coaches around the globe to help give you perspective and help you grow, heal, and change. So check that out, narcapp.com. All right, so jumping in, wanted to be able to show you a little bit of object relations, object constancy, and we're going to deal with the object constancy the most, okay? So, what I'm reading from, real quick, is The Narcissist in Your Life by Julie Hall. If you've seen some of my YouTube, you see this video. Okay, whole object relations allow us to see ourselves and others in a fully integrated way as having both positive and negative qualities. Narcissists, by definition, lack whole object relations, which means they're unable to form a stable, realistic, and nuanced view of themselves and others. This is the aspect where you get into black and white thinking. You're all good or you're all bad. There's not really like an in-between. This psychological deficit means that they experience splitting, instead viewing people or things in opposite extremes as either perfect or worthless, all good, all bad, with little to no middle ground. Narcissists also lack object constancy, which is the ability to maintain an emotional connection with and positive feelings for people we care about in moments when we are physically apart from them or when they hurt or disappoint us. If a narcissist child gets a bad grade, the narcissist may react with anger, forgetting that the child is normally a strong and conscientious student. Both psychological deficits are believed to result from a...
Now, as far as I know, can't heal narcissism with love, with compassion, as far as I know, right? And I'm not saying that it's impossible. I mean, narcissists can go to therapy and, become aware, because many narcissists are simply just not aware that they're a narcissist. They think the way they are is the way they should be, and that's just that. So a self-aware narcissist is someone who understands that, they gaslight, they lie pathologically, they manipulate, they use, right? So, again, you might be able to get some compromise, right? Or maybe sacrifice out of a self-aware narcissist. But for the most part, when you recognize narcissism, you probably should just run. And this is why this show is really like drilling down on the different nuances and subtleties wrapped around narcissism. But let's take it even higher. Another one of my favorite Eastern philosophers was Paramahansa Yogananda. And he said life should be chiefly service. Without that ideal, the intelligence that God has always given you is not reaching out toward its goal. When in service, you forget the little self. You will feel the big self of spirit when you're in service. Now, Paramahansa Yogananda, of course, was from India. The term they use to describe those people are Hindus. And in the Hindu belief system, there is a Sanskrit term called Seva, S-E-V-A, and it means selfless service. But the problem with our cooperation, the problem with our compromise, the problem with our sacrifices is that largely they're really just investments. And whenever we sacrifice, whenever we compromise, we really want to get paid back. It's a type of spiritual layaway. I'll put a little on it right now, and then I'll come back and get it later. That's really what we're doing. And if we approach relationships from this perspective, and I'm not coming from the space that I've mastered this, I think one of my biggest problems is there are moments in my life, moments in my career, things I wanted to do for my business that I probably should have sacrificed in order to be present in my person's life, in my woman's life. She wanted me be there in some form, shape or form, in some capacity when she needed me. And I can remember there are times where I may have chosen my purpose. I may have chosen my business when in fact I probably should have said, you know what, the business is going to be there. The work is going to be there. Let me shut that down and attend to her needs. But a lot of times we don't think with a selfless heart. We kind of think with, hey, what am I going to get out of this, or what am I going to lose by giving this up, right? Paramahansa Yogananda also said, I want a life that is humbly serviceable, or humbly serviceful and abundant, right? That's what he's saying. Like, I think abundance comes from service. And many of us don't think that way, right? He says, I do everything with the greatest pleasure and in spirit of service. And, many of us struggle to do this. I want to get a caller in here right now. We got Truemonger on the line from Dallas, Texas. Truemonger, what are your thoughts? What are you willing to sacrifice? And what are you not willing to sacrifice? And why is it important to your relationship?
Well, when I was in one, I just didn't want to be put in bad situations, if that makes sense. Just don't set me up to be in a bad situation or whatever it is that may be going on outside of us. And for the most part, it's cool because to me, being with somebody you care about is not really a sacrifice. I mean, in general, you sacrifice yourself every day, whether you with somebody or you're single. Just walking out the door is a sacrifice most of the time, because you don't know what's going to get thrown at you. But as far as comparing sacrifices, I don't do that. I don't keep a scorecard.
No, I got one for you, True. Oh, I got one for you. Are you ready for this question, True?
Sure.
Here we go. I can't wait to. Hey, True. Would you sacrifice? And I'm not saying forever, but would you sacrifice your peace for someone you truly and deeply loved? Don't answer that question when we come forward. Back to Dallas, Texas. This is the one. Let's go.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Maryland leaders are speaking out against the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Governor Wes Moore, who is black, says he condemns in the strongest possible terms what happened to President Trump. He says this has to be a country that can learn to disagree without turning to political violence. Black Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott also issued a statement on the shooting, saying political violence, gun violence, any violence has absolutely no place in American democracy. The Black Information Network's news anchor Doug Davis is reporting live from the NAACP National Convention in Las Vegas.
Hey, thanks, Amber. At the Mandalay Bay for the NAACP Annual Convention goes on until the 17th. Just